Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. If you guys haven't heard by now, as I've probably blasted on my channel several times with the Object 292 and now the Jaguar IS, War Thunder has a brand new event cycle. Basically getting rid of all the crafting events, summer event, and they're only keeping the winter event. And pretty much what this event cycle means is that rather than having a bunch of event vehicles being clustered in a single event, like 3 or 4 with the crafting events or the summer event, they are now giving one event vehicle every, give or take, 3 weeks. So each event, as they stated in one of their posts, will last on average between 12 and 18 days. And then during that time, you will have to earn between 35 and 45,000 mission points every 2 days per task. It of course depends on what rank the vehicle is, or really just however Gaijin feels about the vehicle that they're giving as the event vehicle, but pretty much every 12 to 18 days, which means that each of these will have between 6 and 9 task stars, which again, each of these task stars will be worth 35 to 45,000 mission score in that given game mode. So if you're trying to grind out for the ground vehicle that maybe they have, then you're going to have to play ground vehicles. Arcade, realistic sim. If you want the air vehicle, air battles. If you want the naval vehicle, of course, you are going to have to play naval. So that basically means that every 2 days, they are now expecting you to play for hours, not like a half hour or an hour or whatever the case may be, but literally hours in order to grind for a vehicle. And if you don't want to do that, you could either have the fear of missing out, not grind it at all, or you can purchase golden eagles and then buy their task stars, because of course that's something that you could do. And bear in mind, of course, they would do these things during the regular events. Crafting events were a real pain in the tuchus, if you guys know what I mean. That was not an easy sort of thing to grind through, whereas the winter and summer events were a bit easier. Thankfully, at least they are keeping the winter event for now. And bear in mind also, there will be some cosmetic only events where maybe they'll cost fewer mission score per 2 days. Who knows? It's kind of up in the air. But the big issue with this, again, each event lasting 12 to 18 days. Every 2 days you have to earn, let's just say 40,000 mission score, which is hours of gameplay. And between each and every one of these events, they're only going to have 2 or 3 days. That's it. So you're going to have to grind out for 12 to 18 days, and then there's like a 2-day break. And they say the longest current gap planned is almost 1 month in the summer until the next event starts. But on average, it'll be 2 to 3 days of no events until the next event starts. I don't know about you guys, but I can kind of feel like a problem is going to be happening, and I'm already noticing it with the second event, the Jaguar IS event, being called the Sword of Justice. And that problem is burnout. Burnout has been a big problem in War Thunder for a very long time, and especially when dealing with events, winter event, summer event, not as bad, but more so crafting event, burnout, because people would literally have to play, I mean, people have done the math, tens of hours every week in order to get the vehicles that they want, or they'll never be able to play them. So there could be a vehicle that maybe they really want. The Object 292 is a really good example of this, an extremely unique vehicle, and the only way to earn it is to play during that specific time and earn 45,000 ground score every 2 days, or you can purchase it on the marketplace, which might itself be a bit difficult, because in order to be able to sell this on the marketplace in the first place, you have to get 750,000 mission score over the duration of the event in order to be able to turn the coupon for the Object 292 into a tradable coupon that you can sell on the marketplace, which introduces artificial scarcity, which will then raise the price of it. So either you play the game a whole lot during the time that this event is going on, or you're likely going to have to pay a lot for this vehicle. I'm not sure if it's going to go up to like Object 292 prices. I'm not sure if it's going to stay down. We're going to have to wait and see. This is new territory we are working here. But again, this is something where it's like you get the vehicle you want by playing a whole lot, or you are screwed. And I kind of feel like Gaijin, the people who make the decisions at Gaijin, are looking at this and they're saying to themselves, this is a great idea. We're going to keep people in an infinite play loop. This is something that people are going to love. They're going to have new vehicles that they can grind out every few days. They're free vehicles, great, so on and so forth. In a perfect world, I see that makes sense. Honestly, I really like the idea, especially somebody like me, who this is almost kind of like a second job. It's definitely a very strong hobby would be a good way to put it. And I can grind these vehicles. But what about the guy who has 3 kids, you know? Or like, I don't know, the occasional, there might be a few single mothers who play this game. They can't do this. They can play it occasionally, and then all of a sudden they can't do it. But more so, and this is something that I kind of alluded to in the very beginning of this video, burnout. Burnout is a big problem, and people have been commenting on my most recent video regarding the Sword of Justice event where you can get the Jaguar IS. Again, that's the second such event, the first one being the Call of the Dragon where you could earn the Object 292, and people are already saying, I'm burned out. I'm not going to play this game that much more. Why would I want to do this? And now you're going to get it where I feel like, again, in a bubble, in an ideal world, Gaijin's probably looking at this like, wow, we're going to get these people in a gameplay loop. And I guess that makes sense when you think that your entire player base is a bunch of mouth-breathing troglodytes, but that's not War Thunder players. A lot of these people, and I've interacted with many of them, probably more content creators, but many people in the War Thunder player base, they're smart, reasonable people who have lives going on outside of War Thunder. And while, of course, there can be the occasional cesspool or idiot playing the game, those people are relatively few and far between. And so Gaijin, of course, thinks that everybody has this ton of free time to be able to play this game, and that's it. And I feel like people every year, they kind of brace themselves for the winter event, for the summer event, and for the occasional crafting events that come around, and that's when they can expect, okay, I'm gonna go ham in War Thunder during this time, and then I'm gonna relax. You can no longer relax. Even though you're not having to grind on that same level as, let's say, for example, a crafting event, most people, let's just say for winter and summer events, only go through one line. They only get the air line, they only get the tank line or the naval line. Some people like me, if you're crazy or you just have a way to get more points, you go for 2 different lines, but that's a rarity in and of itself. This new event cycle is essentially replicating the whole one line of tasks. So for example, in the summer event, you could get air, ground, naval, and in any of those, you get basically 1 vehicle. In some cases, you can get 2 vehicles in a single task line. And again, if most people are only grinding through 1 line of those, this is essentially a perpetual summer event. That's what this is. It's just a perpetual summer or winter event because most people are only grinding through a third of it in the first place, and that's what this is. This is a perpetual third of the summer or winter event, which is as much as most people grind anyways. And people get burned out after those. Does Gaijin really think that this is a good idea to say, here's 2 or 3 days, go spend time with your kids, come back when you're done? Like, that's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And again, for somebody like me where I have a financial incentive to play the game, and I love this game regardless of if I make money on it or not, and by the way, Gaijin has not given me, and they're not going to give me, I really doubt that they're going to give me a decal or anything like that or a content creator code. So if you guys ever ask that, I'm probably never going to get it. I've applied several times. They've denied me several times. But beside the point, burnout is a big issue, and somebody like me where it's like, I don't really have too much going on outside of my job in real life and maybe some other things here and there, I can actually afford to do this, and if I can't get a task done, I can just simply spend some GE because I get GE from Gaijin anyways. It's easy for me, but for the people who genuinely just want to play this game, I feel like they're going to look at this, and either they're going to ignore it and just play casually anyways, or they're going to look at this and be like, man, this sucks. Like, how many mobile games kind of do this, right? Where they're like, okay, well, here's a task, here's a task, here's a task, and the only reason why you log in is not to have fun, but to do your dailies. This is basically another way for them to get you to do your dailies, to get you to play the game every single day, and that is the quickest way to burn someone out. I used to play WoW, years ago, and the thing that killed me was every day I had to do my dailies. This is War Thunder's version of you doing your daily, except again, it's basically a perpetual summer event, a perpetual winter event, and it just doesn't end all but for 2 or 3 days in between with a single 1-month gap in the summer. To me, that's a little bit too much. If you're going to run these events as much as you are, decrease the amount of score needed. Rather than from 35,000 to 45, maybe from 25 to 35, or at very worst, from 30 to 40. It's ridiculous. and then reduce the number of tasks. It's insane because they're asking so much constantly from people. Because especially, I mean, if you look at it like this, if they're asking you, for example, with the Object 292 event or the Jaguar IS, there are 9 stages. Each of those stages last 2 days. And then they're like, okay, you have a break of 2 or 3 days between the events. You know what that means? There is a single period where it would normally be one task, right? So one task being 2 days. That's the entire time that you have off before you have to start earning. And you can't just, like, let's say, miss a task and then make up for it by playing a whole bunch a few days later. No, you have to buy it. You have to buy what you missed. And that is the biggest problem. Burnout, and I feel like it's going to cause resentment, and this is not going to be good for War Thunder, especially, again, we're only a second event in, and I'm already starting to notice plenty of people, even myself who really like playing this game and interacting with the people, it's already becoming a problem. And one other thing that I've actually noticed while playing War Thunder over these past few days is that by having, let's say, for example, a ground event, you are going to kill the amount of players in air battles, and vice versa, you can substantially reduce the amount of people in ground battles. I actually had a 5-minute queue for like a 5.0 BR air match a few days ago, just because what I'm assuming was this event. And it wasn't at like 2 in the morning or some random server. This was the US server, probably around like 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, PM. Pretty damn crazy. Another point of contention I somewhat have is in regards to the BR brackets for the nations that earn these vehicles during the events. Are they going to suffer substantially? Those win rates might be unplayable, and it might just be a cavalcade of just win rates going down for certain nations that have event vehicles at any given time, which could make this game very unfun for certain people who just want to play the game without the events. And one final note here, I've noticed personally that I no longer have any urge to play this game after I've gotten my 45,000 score. That's it. It basically puts a time limit or a score limit on how many points you need, and then this game is useless to you. Further, between events, especially when you know what type the next event will be, in this case going from ground to air, you look at it as, okay, I may as well not play air right now because it's going to give me points next week, whereas now, it doesn't really matter. By making War Thunder now into a game with a score limit where it's basically anything beyond 45,000 points every 2 days is useless, that makes War Thunder a job with a quota. And as a final mention here, I have noticed people have been commenting on my videos. I've even been seeing it around forums and all that. People have been saying that if they don't feel like grinding for a specific vehicle, let's say the Jaguar IS, then they're just not going to play during that period of time. So what's going to happen when it's going to be a naval event and the vast majority of people who don't play naval either just don't give a damn about the event, or they say, you know what, this is going to be my 2-week break from the game. Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. Or because ground and air are the biggest modes in War Thunder, probably ground is about the biggest. What happens when a huge amount of people just don't feel like grinding out for the air vehicle? We might see a drop in players at least for a 2-week period of time, but that's just a final thought based on some comments that I've been reading around the web. So that said, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. This video ran a little bit longer than I expected, as do most of my commentary videos, but I'm interested to hear and read your opinions. But either way, thanks again. See you all on the other side. Remember, guys, playing video games is not worth your mental health. Go outside, and I'm being serious here, touch grass. Have a good day. Breathe in the air. Go for a hike. Don't enslave yourself to a PC just so you can get yourself a digital vehicle. That's silly. Take care, everyone.